Welcome back to the Horn Takes podcast. I am Sean Redfern, and we got a full house tonight. Joining me from the cheap seats, we've got Marc Pena from Occupy Left Field, and we've got Michelle Lynn, as always, from Twitter. Michelle Lynn from Twitter. Yeah. So it's the bye week. We're just gonna talk some Texas football to this point in the season. Talk about what the rest of the season might look like. And it'll just be a fun conversation. Thanks, guys, for coming on. How are we doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. I appreciate you having me back on. Looking forward to the discussion tonight.
Absolutely. Yep. Michelle, how are we doing? Everything good in Michelleville?
Yep, doing good. Really happy it's a bye week because my heart needs a break.
Yes. I said, I don't know if it was last week when you and I talked, Michelle, or whether it was Sunday where I said, like, I don't know how much more of this I can do these close games. And then we had another close game. So just kind of been an absolute insane last 3 weeks for Texas football when you really get down. We've had two close games, way too close games. So, I mean, we'll take the wins. You got to take the wins in the close games. But, man, they sure are heart racing. Like they're a mess. I'm too old for this shit. All right, before we get started, check out our friends over at ChinookSeedery.com. They got 8 great flavors. Remind me, Marc, what's your favorite flavor?
Man, I like a lot of them, but I'm a pretty basic guy, man. I like the barbecue. The barbecue is great.
Okay. And our man Zach is a big dill pickle guy. He says if they get the hot dill, it's game over for the rest of the seed industry. Like, nobody can touch them. I want them to make some enchilada or some taco or something. I want a Tex-Mex flair going on. They've got a lot of other, flavors and stuff like that. But if they do that, it'll be game over for me, for sure. Anyway, check those guys out. Use our promo code Horn Takes. You get 10% off your order. They're great for the deer lease. Deer season's coming up. Go get you a bucket of seeds. They're great for football when your team is like up by 50 points and then pisses it away in the fourth quarter. They're good for all that stuff, just like to keep you sane. So go check them out. All right, guys, we are 9 games into the season. I got to ask y'all a question. So far, is this the story that you had in your head for this Texas team back in August, 9 games into the season? Marc, we'll start with you. Is this anything close to what you were thinking?
It has the potential to be close, right? We still have 3 games left, arguably 2 of the biggest ones, right? And, I guess depending on who you're asking, you'll hear a lot of different answers on if people think we can beat Georgia or beat Texas A&M, but hell, we've got the opportunity. I think the good thing that I like about being 7-2 now is you're getting very close to that point where you've avoided a disastrous season, which I wasn't sure that we were going to do after we lost to Florida, right? After that Florida game, I was really thinking, hey, there are paths to going 6-6 or just having a really, really bad season. Now, we've won, what is it, 4 in a row now, 7-2. I don't want to count any wins. I feel pretty good about getting at least one more against Arkansas. And I think at the very worst, we'll split against A&M and Georgia. So I think at the end of the day, right, if you're going 9-3, it's a decent season. Probably not what everybody wanted, but we do have the opportunity to be in the playoff discussion, which is really all you can ask for at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you go back to – I always go back to, like, the BCS era. If it was the BCS era, we're cooked. We're done. Like, we're in no way anywhere close to being in the picture at the end. But – if they can figure out a way to win them all or go 9-3 and get some help, they could ease their way into the playoffs. And Marc, I share you after that Florida loss. I think I said it on the show. Like, show me the wins. Yeah. Show me all the wins. Which ones of these are wins on the rest of this schedule? And man, there wasn't a lot of them, but we figured out a way to get some wins. And so you cannot fault the team for that. They definitely battle. Now, Michelle, same question. We're going back to August. We're getting all excited about football. 9 games in. is this close to what you thought we would see, or is this just way off? What do you think, Michelle?
So going back to August, I probably would have thought we lost to Ohio State. It would be, just a one-loss team. But if you had told me in August, oh, you're 7-2, you lost to Ohio State and Florida, I would have been like, oh, well, I mean, Florida's really good. Ohio State, of course, is number one. So I wouldn't have been surprised. But then, of course, with how the season played out, with Florida being in shambles and not being good at all, it's like the way we got to 7-2 is way different than I would have anticipated in August. So even though on paper, like, I wouldn't have been surprised by the record or even the opponents we lost to, like, the reality is it's way different than I anticipated. And it seems like one week the offense has it figured out, and then the next week they don't, and the defense has it figured out, but then the next week the defense doesn't have it figured out. So I think I would have thought we just would have had more consistent, cohesive play across both sides. So that's also a surprise. But the good news is we have a path. We literally control our own destiny. And if you had told that to us when we lost to Florida, I would not have believed you, because I was like you. I was like, man, are we even going to make a bowl game?
Yeah.
It was not looking pretty at all. And I'm a very optimistic Texas fan. I'm drinking the orange Kool-Aid every day, but I was not sure what our path was. So,
yeah, going back to August, I thought the Ohio State game was a toss-up for sure. I think I picked us to win that game. I know I picked us to win that game the week of, but I think as I was talking about this stuff, way back in July, August, that was a game that I looked at and said, wouldn't surprise me if we lost that game. Young offense, breaking in a lot of new players on the road against the defending national. I mean, it's just like kind of picture perfect setup to go up there and lose, right? But Florida, and I was not buying the Florida Kool-Aid all offseason. I was just like, I don't understand why people keep talking about how great DJ Lagway is. I don't understand why they are talking about this Florida team being good. This Florida team's got to show me they're good before I believe they're good. And they did not do that, but they somehow figured out a way to beat Texas. And that was, I mean, man,
and they bullied us
talked
too,
about
man.
What's that?
Also,
They bullied us too. Like,
they beat the shit out of us. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we came back on the scoreboard, but they like physically kicked our ass for 3 quarters.
No, and y'all, guess what? So Dallas Wilson, who torched us, right? That was his debut game. He's now shut down for the season. He literally came in, had one amazing game, then was pretty average, and now he's like, yeah, I'm out. I'm like, dude, you just came in, wrecked our plans, and then said peace. Like, are you serious? So it's so frustrating.
That was a super frustrating loss. And I said it at the time, like, that's the worst loss in Steve Sarkisian's tenure at Texas. Like, you just can't take that team, that roster into that shit show and do that. And they did. Somehow they figured out a way to do that. So I was pretty down at that point. And then fast forward to today, we're 7-2, which I didn't think. I've picked against Texas 2 times in the last, since Sark has been here and since I've been doing this show, 2 times. Alabama and Oklahoma this year. Alabama on the road and Oklahoma this year. I thought it'd be a close game, but I just felt like, man, we just got beat up by a Florida team that isn't, to me, again, not that great. And I just thought Oklahoma would get us. But here we are. We're 7-2. And I want to go back to something you said, Michelle. You talked about the consistency. The big surprise for me about the consistency of this team is the defense. We've seen them be absolutely fantastic for an entire game. And then we've seen them be absolutely crappy for an entire game, basically. That's the Florida game. That was like their breakout game of, I don't know what the hell that was. But and then against Vandy last week, they're great through 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden you look up and Vandy scores 21 points in the 4th quarter, gets back in the game, has a chance to get an onside kick. The offense doesn't surprise me at all being inconsistent, but the defense, they got to figure that out, because it's you're about to run into 3 opponents that can move the ball big time. Like, Arkansas is one of the best offensive teams in the country. they slung up what 45 points, 42 points against Texas A&M. A&M maybe not a top tier like super great defense, but they got guys. I mean, they got a good defense, a good roster. So to me, that's not a game to sleep on. Even with sort of the success that this Texas team has had here recently, and just the way they've just figured out how to win games, like they just keep winning. And man, I said it a week ago or so. I don't want to compare them to that Ohio State game or that Ohio State team from 2002, but that was another team that just was not ever impressive, except all they did was win every single game and win a national championship. Besides that, they sucked. So I wonder if we're like looking at that type of a Texas team that it's just gonna be what it is every week, and it's not gonna ever be, comfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're joining us or if you're watching us tonight, jump. You're watching us. Jump in the chat. Give us your questions, comments. We love to hear from you guys. It's just an open discussion tonight. We don't have a game to talk about. I guess we could complain about Vandy, but I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. It's over. We're 7-2. What do you guys think about the final 3 games? We got on the road at Georgia after a bye week, which, by the way, this bye week couldn't have come at a better time. I feel like we lost half the team last week in that Vanderbilt game. At one point, it was like every other play, someone was limping off the field or going off the field hurt. So the bye week, incredibly great timing. I feel like we should get everybody back that, isn't done for the season. It looks like, Jelani McDonald's in the protocol. It looks like we'll get Michael Taft back. Wingo could have played, says Sark. He just dislocated his thumb, which is probably incredibly painful, but he didn't have surgery, so I'm assuming it was just your run-of-the-mill dislocation, and they popped it right back in. But so we'll get a lot of guys back. And going back to that, Vander, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but you don't have a Michael Taft, you don't have a Jelani McDonald in the back end of that defense. That's what's going to happen. Is what we saw. Just a lot of miscommunication and broken coverage. So I don't know how much I look at that fourth quarter and think that's what that defense is necessarily. But what are y'all's thoughts? Michelle, we'll start with you. Final 3 games at Georgia, Arkansas at home, a rivalry game, especially for them. And then Texas A&M is the big one that I think everybody's had circled going into this year as a game. I mean, it was a game last year that kind of determined a lot of things. And I think there's a big opportunity for it to do the same thing this year. What are your thoughts, Michelle?
Yeah, so kind of touching on what you were saying for the defense, I think there were also a couple of other guys that the injuries weren't really reported, but like Manny Muhammad, you saw a lot of his snaps really decrease in the fourth quarter, and he's been a little bit banged up since he missed time at Florida. So like you had Manny out, Jelani McDonald out, Taff out. Then I think Phil Sami even got a little bit nicked up. So it was like, who is even playing on defense? They could have put me out there. So it was just a recipe for disaster. When you also pair it with the officials apparently, having whatever going on, voodoo juju in their drink. So yeah, it was like a perfect storm. So I don't think that is what we can expect to see at Georgia and in our, next few games, but it definitely is something to monitor with the secondary because it's not the only time this season that there have been secondary lapses. And I think it honestly was a little bit exposed going all the way back to our first few games against our non-conference opponents. Like I remember there were a few times where it was like, oh, if we were playing a better quarterback, we would have just gotten torched.
Yeah.
But it's like a misplaced ball, poorly thrown ball, things like that. So we kind of got a little bit lucky. I think now it's gotten a little bit more exposed, but like you said, bye week came at a perfect time. We can work on those things. We can get guys healthy so that we can, crush these next 3 games. I feel really positive about us going against Georgia because they don't have a bye week. We've faced a lot of teams this season that have been coming off of a bye week, so they've had like extra time to prepare for us. So they're going, I think they're either at home or they're going to Mississippi State. But anyways, so that's an advantage for us. We're going to be rested and healthy. I do know Kirby, he just knows the Sark and the Kiffin offenses. He's just really good at playing those two head coaches specifically. So you can never feel too confident, but I do like our chances, especially now that we seem to have found a really good starting five on the offensive line. I like our chances a lot better this week than I did 2 weeks ago. And then for Arkansas, I feel good, but again, we can't be caught sleepy because their offense is really good. So we can't overlook them. Because if we win against Georgia, we might be like, oh, well, once we beat Arkansas, then we got to focus on A&M. So we can't overlook them. Like, this team cannot overlook any opponent. But otherwise, I feel pretty solid about Arkansas. I'm going to that game. Can't wait. And then A&M, I always like our chances against A&M. It's November. Let's end it. Let's take it to the once and for all. They're super good, but I don't know. I'm not a believer in them quite yet. I'm never going to underestimate them because it is a rivalry game, but I don't know, man. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors with them, I think.
Yeah, are they really good though? I mean, I was looking at it like I know the narrative says they're really good. They're only one game different than they were at this point last year. The only difference between last season and this year for Notre Dame or for Texas A&M is they didn't beat Notre Dame last year, but they did beat Notre Dame this year. That's the difference in their record. And so I'm not saying this Texas A&M team doesn't look more improved, because I think they do. Right. I think they're a lot better offensively than they were last year. But there's still an opportunity for that Aggie roller coaster to happen where they just fall right off the end of the track. I mean, we'll talk about it a little later, but looking ahead at their schedule, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not completely unfriendly either outside of us. So, but I think there's opportunity there. I mean, they got to go to Mizzou. I don't think Mizzou is a great team, but I think they're a team that if you have a bad day, you have an off day, they could get you, especially at home. So, there is a lot of sort of landmines for the rest of the season for SEC teams sitting out there. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Marc, final 3 games, just what are your thoughts in general as we head into this bye week and try to get healthy?
I love where the bye week came, just like both of you were saying. We get a chance to really get rested. And if I'm anything, I'm over dramatic. I feel like Georgia's coming at a perfect time, because it's like literally, to me, the fork in the road for the Texas football season. I mean, think about it. If we come out next Saturday and beat Georgia in Athens, nobody's going to even remember we lost to Florida, right? I mean, we're going to be 8-2, ranked somewhere around number 5 in the country, and everybody's going to be talking about Texas again, right? And obviously that would be exciting. But the flip of that is if you go into Athens and get beat up and lose, that's really going to be a deflating thing. It's almost like a 1-game season to determine, what November and beyond is going to look like for Texas. So I'm obviously viewing it as the most important game of the season for Texas. And I think it's going to put us down one path or the other. And it's really going to give this team an opportunity to prove what type of team they really are, right? You two have already talked about how inconsistent we've been throughout the season, throughout an individual game. And it's time to see what this Texas team is all about. And can they pull off that big win, get that big win, and kind of propel us towards, the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, I don't know.
I have no clue.
I see certain parts of this season, and I go, absolutely, they can go into Athens and win that game. Yeah. And then I see other parts of the season, and I go, there's no freaking way they're going to go win that game in Athens. I mean, first of all, Kirby Smart just doesn't lose a lot of games. He's been doing that for a while now, winning tons of games. Georgia is just not a program that loses games. I still think, even despite their loss to Alabama earlier this year, to me, they're still kind of like the gold standard of the SEC until, if Alabama can get, Alabama certainly has an opportunity to take that back this year. But right now, I still feel like Georgia is kind of like the team to beat. Kirby Smart, his staff, always really good. They always put their players in really good positions. I think Gunnar Stockton's a guy that I mean, a lot of people kind of clowned him after the SEC championship last year because they did just kind of make it. It was really simple. It was just like hand it off or roll out and throw it in the flat, kind of is what he did in that whole second half of that game. But it worked. And then he had a bad outing, not a great outing against Notre Dame. But clearly, he is a good deliverer of the football. Like he gets the ball out, he gets it to the right places. So I mean, I saw a tweet the other day. People were like, "Oh, people are sleeping on Gunnar Stock." I don't think people are. No. I mean, I think he's a good quarterback. So yeah. I mean, I look at these next 3 games, and I go, it's a 1-game season every single time. I'll get your thoughts in a minute, guys. But I think Texas absolutely has to win all 3 of these games. I do not. I know there's people out there that keep saying, "Oh, well, they could get in at 9-3." If so, like, I just don't. I think if Texas loses another game, the committee, the media, like, sort of college football space out there is just going to kind of give up on this Texas team as a contender type, role. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but so yeah, I think you absolutely have. I don't think this Texas team drops a game in Athens, beats Arkansas, beats Texas A&M, and gets into the playoff. And I mean, it's always mathematically possible until it's not, but right now it is. It just is not very likely to me. So I think this team's got to win out over this remaining 3 games. So they got to kind of sell out. And what I really liked was seeing Sark go back to what worked in the 4th quarter of the Mississippi State game, the entire game against Vandy. That was one of my big things going into that game with Vandy is Sark going to kind of let the ego go down a little bit and just go, I got a spread team. We're Texas Tech, and let's just be Texas Tech. And he did, and it worked great for 3 quarters. And then we saw in the 4th quarter, they kind of got away from it. They tried to run the clock out. They start bringing an extra tight end in, and it went back to shit like it has been the entire season. I said it on Sunday's 10th thought. Where is the all gas, no brakes? Let's score 70 points if we can score 70 points. If you score 70 points, you're winning the game. Yeah. You don't have to run the ball and kill the clock. Just go score 70 points every time. And I know that's crazy. They could do that. They could have dropped 50 points on Vandy easily.
Vandy was not
and won that game 50-14. Yeah. So I don't. Again, it's like this battle in Sark's head where he wants to be X, but he's really got Y for a team right now. And how does he sort of marry those 2 things together? I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how that looks in Athens. Do we come out spreading it out all over the field, or do we go back to, for some reason, I got to pile everybody in the box and try to confuse the hell out of my offensive line and my quarterback? I don't know. We'll see. I think today it's really hard for me to believe this team can win those 3 games. I want them to, and I feel like roster-wise they can. But that's why you play the games. It's not who has the best roster. It's like you got to go play games and win games. It's tough for me to believe. Am I crazy? It's tough for me to believe they can win those 3 games. Because I think the Arkansas game is going to be a lot tougher than most Texas fans think. Their record is shitty, but that team can score.
Yeah. To your point, right? I think one of the things that worries me is early in the season out of conference, right? We had that awful game against UTEP where we just looked terrible, right? Had the same thing happen in Lexington where, I mean, the offense didn't even look like it could get a first down, right? So
because they couldn't.
Exactly.
It didn't look like it. They could not get a first down.
So I question if they'll be able to play at a high level for 3 straight weeks against good opponents. But they definitely have the talent and the ability to do it. They're just going to have to put it together. And I'm not quite as scared of Arkansas as maybe the 2 of you are. I know they have a good offense, but Texas is just a different team at home in Austin. And I think that's going to be a charged up environment. So I'm really not worried about that game, if I'm being honest. It's Georgia and A&M. And going back to your comment about A&M, man, this does feel like a much different Texas A&M team, at least to me. What solidified that for me was just watching them absolutely clown LSU in Baton Rouge a couple of weeks ago. And man, that just looked like a cocky football team, and they look different than the type of team that played us in College Station last year, where I didn't see that swagger and bravado on the A&M sideline last year. It kind of seemed like they were tight and knew that like the expectation of their fans was that they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
But man, they took it to LSU, and to be honest with me, they scared the shit out of me. I think that's a really good team. I think they're legitimately one of the top 2 teams in the country. So that's going to be a tough one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think they're top. I think they are worthy of being in the top 5. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Texas A&M. I think that they were really smart with some of the people they got in the portal. I don't remember the wide receiver's name, but I mean, he's been such an asset to them, brought so much speed to their offense, and they've done a great job at developing Marcel Reed. Like last year, I'm like, who is this joker? And this year I'm like, okay, I see you. That's the quarterback development, people talk about. So, I mean, but I'm also very aware, like, I think Notre Dame is way down this year. I think they're very overrated right now. LSU has been in shambles. And I mean, gosh, even now behind the scenes, they're all governments chiming in. They can't decide on an AD. They're kind of a cluster. But I give A&M, where I give A&M a lot of credit, though, is they go bell to ass against teams from quarter 1 to quarter 4, even when it's a bad team, whereas Texas has struggled to do that against bad teams. You know what I mean? Like, you can only play who's on your schedule. And I think A&M's done a great job of, like, if they're playing a bad opponent, well, they're going to kick their butt, Maybe Arkansas the exception because they only won by 3, but that's a rivalry game. You just never really, or not a rivalry. They have that weird.
No, it's an old Southwest Conference rivalry.
Right? Okay, yeah. I was like, I think they had that weird thing going on. So it's like you never know what's going to happen in those. So yeah, they're legitimate to me. And Arkansas, I'm not scared of Arkansas. What I'm scared of is the placement of their game being one where you can kind of look ahead, especially if you're like, oh, we just beat Georgia. We're feeling ourselves again. Like, whenever the media is feeling Texas, the Texas players are like, and that's when they come out slow. So I kind of almost prefer when it's like Arch Manning's a flop, because then they're all like, oh, we're going to go, kill whoever we're playing, take that OU. So it just depends. But I'm hoping that what I've seen from the Texas team is they do seem to have matured as the season has gone on. And so I think maybe now they do have the maturity to not overlook an opponent and can just show up, take care of business. But, we'll see. We got to get through Georgia first. Like, we got to take it 1 week at a time. Luckily, it's a bye week, so we can talk about all these fun scenarios. But I'm definitely team. There is a path at 9-3, but I'm also team. You better control your destiny, because you don't want to take any chances, because you would need a lot of help. Like, we would need Notre Dame to lose, and they're playing nobodies. We would need Big 12. We would need Tech to implode, because we could only afford to have one Big 12 team if we're going to go 9-3. Like, so many crazy things need to happen in order for that to be the case, even though there is statistically a chance it could happen. And you could already see the media sort of priming people. Could Texas get in if they're 9-3? Like, they're already trying to soft launch it.
Oh, they would want to. They would.
Because
the committee would want Texas in.
And so you can already tell they're like putting that narrative out there. But at the end of the day, they can't do it if, the right things don't fall into place for Texas. Right. So we need to take care of business and know that we don't want to even take a chance. We are automatically in if we're 10-2, period. We don't even have to go to the SEC game, which I would honestly prefer that. Less chance for injury and things like that. So I don't know. It's going to be a crazy finish of the season. This is like one of the most enjoyable, even though it's been stressful, college football seasons I've had in a while.
Yeah, it has been a wild year, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. I talked about how the games just seem fun. Like they're like, back in the day, in the early 2000s, like the late 2000s, I don't even feel like Texas games were that fun a lot of times because you just knew they were going to go out there and beat somebody by like 30 points.
Right.
And when they didn't, like the only time you really had an emotional reaction was when they didn't. And you're like, what the hell is happening? Like, it's burning down. What are we doing? But the games are super exciting this year. I don't know if I'll live through the season, but or things around me will live through the season, but it has been a good time. Let's go back to a comment you made about the LSU AD. Now, the last I saw, obviously they can their guy.
Yeah.
And then they let this other dude Verge be the interim. And then they said he's the AD. Did they already can him?
Already, because I don't fully know, but Daily Joy, the girl who owns SEC Pretty, follow her on Twitter. She's been the one who was leading the charge of, no, we don't want this. I think there's just been some scandals that have maybe happened with him. I mean, it feels like anybody who's in any sort of upper leadership has had a scandal. But anyways, he's out now. And of course, what was so funny was in the initial press conference today, the LSU president or whoever was saying, like, we just really want to show the coaching candidates we have alignment. And then it's like 3 hours later, 80 is out. They're
just kidding. He's gone too.
What's his name? Verge. What's his last name?
I'm not even sure. I'm not that familiar. I only know any of this because I followed Daily Joy.
That's insane. Yeah, I saw the tweet this morning that they, kind of put him as the non-interim. He's now the AD. That's got to be like the shortest athletic director term of all time, which is just completely on brand for this last few weeks of LSU. What a mess! Like just a total mess. I think in a vacuum that's a great job, but who is going to go there? Who that's reputable is going to go? Yeah. I that's where I want to be. I want to be at the school that can't decide who their AD is. It has the governor come out and say that the AD will not be part of the hiring process for the next head coach. Like who wants to go and deal with that? I wouldn't even for like, well, I probably would. I like for a couple $1,000,000 a year, I would go do that, but I wouldn't. That's never going to happen. But yeah, that is so crazy to me.
They might be desperate. They might give you a call.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna apply when the job comes on the job boards. I'm gonna apply, see what happens. So Michelle, you mentioned there's a path at 9-3. Do you share that same sentiment, Mark? Do you think there's a path for this Texas team to get into the playoffs at 9-3?
I'm gonna get booed for making this statement, but it's truly how I feel. I don't feel like in a college football playoff, a team with 3 losses deserves to be in the playoffs. I really don't. I know that there's going to be exceptions to that when you have like a ridiculously hard SEC schedule and you play 5 or 6 top 10 teams. But I'd have a hard time arguing for us to get in at 9-3. Obviously, it would depend how that third loss comes, right? If it's a 1-point loss against Georgia and then we beat A&M by 17 points, maybe I would feel differently. I was listening to local sports talk today, and Jeff Ward, who has a local show, was basically guaranteeing that if Texas went 9-3, that they'd get in, and that the committee would find a way to pick us over a second Big 12 team. And I don't know if I could argue for that and support that, right? I mean, obviously, it'd be great to get in at 9-3. I just feel like too much would need to happen, and I feel like at that point there'd probably be more deserving teams than Texas, because to everything we've talked about already, we have been wildly inconsistent all year. And then, I mean, people could argue we should have lost 2 other games, right? We should have lost to Kentucky. We should have lost to Mississippi State. So
3 other games, really. I mean, Vandy could have easily won that game. You
could say the same about Georgia, though.
That's true. But Georgia's probably not gonna have 3 losses, though, right?
They're not. But what I'm saying is the committee criteria is not who's the most deserving. It's
let's go ahead and throw the Let's go ahead and differentiate between what they say they're looking at and what they're actually looking at, because I don't believe it's the same two things.
Deserving is not a criteria. Do I think a 9-3 team should be in there? No. But what if all of the chips align? That's where I say I'm not talking about would I be happy about it. I mean, I don't want us to lose and be 9-3, not at all. I want us to be 10-2 and nobody can say a freaking peep, But there is a path. Like there is definitely a way, but again, the chips have to perfectly fall, and you never want to be in that situation.
What about this scenario? Oklahoma wins out. Vandy wins out. We beat Georgia. We lose to Arkansas, and then we beat A&M.
If we lose to Arkansas, we're out.
You think a 9-3 Texas team? Hold on. Let me completely spell this out. A 9-3 Texas team that's beaten 4 top 10 teams is out, like just automatically. Like there's like,
but with 2 losses against teams that have losing records.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's the old is a loss more important than the wins you had type of scenario to me.
Yes, it is, because Notre Dame's high quality loss to A&M is why they're ahead of us. They've had a better high quality loss, and their low quality loss is better than ours because it was to Miami, whereas ours was to Florida, who's unranked. I'm telling you, this is how the committee thinks. If our loss comes to Arkansas, there's no chance, because that's a really low quality loss. That gives us 2 low quality losses. We're out. But if our loss comes to a Georgia or an A&M, that's a high quality loss. That carries a lot of weight to them. Look, I'm not a fly on the wall in there, but I saw all those old white guys putting the hat on there. I was pretty much reading their mind, and I could see if Texas loses to Arkansas, we're done. But if Texas loses to Georgia or A&M, if we pass the eyeball test, I mean, I think one of them even gave an interview and was like, the vibe of the team was XYZ. So, I mean, they're talking about vibes. It would be bad vibes if we lose to Arkansas.
I'm not saying it'd be ideal. I mean, I'm just saying
it's a home
loss.
If
Oklahoma wins out, they will 100% be a top 10 team at the end of the year. Vandy, maybe not, because there's not that much on their schedule. What they do have left, Tennessee, top 25 team, but not great. It's not. It's probably not going to boost Vandy up into the top 10, right? If they figure out a way to win out and beat Tennessee, but they were a top 10 team when we played them. And then if they were to beat 2 top teams in the final 3 games of the season, to me, that's like the only path at 9-3 for Texas. Like, it's no way. Like, to me, that's like, that would be kind of what has to happen.
Man, they love a high quality loss, though, and that
seems so stupid to me. I mean, I'm not arguing with you, Michelle. That just sounds like totally dumb to me. Like, I can't imagine sitting in a room and going, well, who lost to the better team? And making my decision based on that. But you're probably right. They
talk about it a lot. I've heard the term high quality loss enough times to know
there is no such thing as a high quality loss.
It's a very important variable in their criteria.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk these college football rankings. Any surprises to you guys in these college football rankings? Let's tell the folks listening what they are, in case they're living under a rock and they don't know. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Ole Miss. So the SEC got a stranglehold on 3 through 6. 7 and 8 are occupied by Big 12 teams, an undefeated BYU, a 1-loss Texas Tech. And then you got another Big 10 team, Oregon, at number 9, then Notre Dame at number 10. What's the surprise to you in the initial playoff rankings? Ready, go.
I'll let you go first. You go first, Michelle.
Okay. I was like, I've been running my mouth, so I'll let Mark go. I didn't really have any surprises. I think I was a little surprised that Notre Dame being so much higher than Miami when they have the head-to-head, because I feel like the committee valued the head-to-head in other areas, but in that specific area, it's almost as if because it was week 1 or week 0, I can't remember, they kind of disregarded it. So that was kind of the only surprise. But I mean, I thought overall they did a pretty good job. If I'm the ACC, I'm like, oh, shoot, we're probably only going to get one team in. But I feel like every other conference should feel pretty happy. Like everybody kind of has a chance to get multiple teams in. And that wasn't the case last year. So ACC being the only one this year that it's going to take a lot to happen for them to probably get multiple bids. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty well done list, considering it seemed like they stuck with some of the things that they had publicly talked about, honoring or wanting to incorporate. They really didn't penalize Texas at all for losing to Ohio State. They did value most of the head-to-heads. So, I mean, I thought they did fine. You just have to win out. Every team though, like, has a chance that they win out. So we'll see what happens.
Mark.
And I agree. I don't think there was anything that really stood out to me about the first rankings. I think one of the things that you like to see, though, right, is I think within the next 2 weeks, there's going to be 3 matchups of those teams, like in the top 14 or 15, right? This week you have Tech and BYU. The next week you have Texas, Georgia, the same weekend as Bama playing OU, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of movement in the next 2 weeks, and there's going to be people moving up, moving down. So nothing really stood out to me. I think something that I did notice is when they started putting up the projection of like the first round playoff games, there really wasn't a huge one that stood out as like, oh, that's a badass game. It was kind of the opposite. And if I remember correctly, I think it was like Virginia at Ole Miss and Notre Dame at BYU. And the matchups just seemed kind of meh. I was like, I don't even know if I'd be all that excited to watch those first 4 games. It didn't seem super great.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that things will shape up to where that first weekend, when you have those 4, on-campus games, that they're just like spectacular matchups that you're pumped up to watch. Because I think that's the whole point of having this 12-game playoff, is just having spectacular series of games kind of one weekend after the other. So hopefully we'll fall into that mode.
Yeah, to me, that's like the problem with the 12-team playoff. And then the way they set it up, like there's going to be, and I don't even know who that team is. There's a group of 5 team that's not even ranked in the top 25.
Memphis.
Anywhere that's probably going to get, there is a team that's going to get in the playoff. Who is that team? What do they look like? I don't know yet. I don't know if Memphis has got it locked up yet at this point or what, but like, come on, nobody wants to see that shit.
That was the third game. It was Memphis at Georgia, and I'm like, I want to watch that.
Yeah, I don't.
Come on, dude.
Oh my gosh.
12 teams is too many. Even in today's climate, where I feel like it's much more parity in football, like there's with NIL and the transfer portal, there's guys that would normally have stuck around and waited for their chance to play. There's teams that would have stacked talent. We saw Alabama's and Georgia's and all that stuff before all this stuff broke loose with NIL, just stacking 5 stars on top of 5 stars. We don't have that anymore. Those guys are going places and they're going to play. And I think, there's some value to that, but even with all that, and even with there not being just a purely dominant team like we used to see, or dominant 2 teams, really, maybe 3 tops, there's still not 12 teams that can go win the national championship. I don't care. There are not 12 teams in college football right now that can go through all of that playoff and win enough games to win a national champion. I still think it's like 4, maybe 5 teams, tops. So, like, why did we break away from the 14? I mean, I know why we did. It was money. But I mean, it is kind of ridiculous. I don't want to see Memphis play anybody. I didn't want to see that shit show we saw. What was it, 2 years ago? What was that team that made it and just got absolutely destroyed? Like, they were undefeated and everybody was talking about how good they were. And what school was that?
Are you talking about last year, Boise?
No, it was the year before. It was the year we went to the Sugar Bowl. It was it Central Florida or something? No, I don't know. It was some school, like, you've heard of it, but you haven't at the same time. Like, it's not a football school. Anyway, they got into the playoff and got their asses stomped.
Wasn't it TCU who lost in the final by like 50 points?
Oh,
yeah, but
was
they're at least a Big 12 school. I mean,
Yeah.
and they deserved it. They deserved to get into that 14 play. I'm gonna have to go back and look it up. I'm not gonna do it right now, but
well, you know, TCU only beat Michigan because they got tipped off about Michigan stealing signs, so they changed all their signs.
well,
that was
quarterback
a
threw
crazy
2 pick
game. It was
sixes
like
in that game.
50
That's
to
why they
45.
beat Michigan.
That was
But
a great game.
So to me, the only thing that like really stands out to me is like why is Notre Dame so high? Like I don't understand. I just don't get why Notre Dame is a team that is a top 10 team.
Loss. I'm telling you.
That is so fucking stupid. They have beaten nobody.
I know.
Like I mean, it's like what are we doing? I don't know. It's crazy to me. We need to throw the term high quality loss. Like we're gonna ban that term from this show. I don't like that.
I'm sorry, it's the truth.
It's no such thing. There's no such thing as no loss is high quality. So yeah, but I mean, other than that, and Mark, to your point, it's gonna shake up a lot. And I think that's kind of the fun part about this time of year is you finally get this playoff ranking. You finally get like some insight into what this group is thinking. Because let's be real, they've been talking, like they've probably been interacting all season and having conversations, and now they've got to make those conversations public. We see what's out there. As I look at this though, and we talk about, you know, does this Texas team make the playoff? Can they? And with what record and with what scenarios if the record is 9-3? Man, I just think so. The Big Ten teams that are up there play basically nobody outside of Ohio State and Michigan. There's not much good games left in the Big Ten, really. And so, like, you know, that Indiana team is probably going to win out.
Yeah.
Ohio State could slip up. I mean, they haven't beat Michigan in like 4 years or something like that. But I think, I don't know. I say that. I think this year's Michigan team is better than last year's Michigan team that beat the national champs. So yeah, you just kind of never know there. But like Oregon doesn't really have a lot of pitfalls left in their schedule.
Well, I'm looking at Oregon's schedule right now. I mean,
UCLA.
Depending on how you look at these teams, they play 3 ranked teams out of their last 4 games. So they're at least playing, you know, they play at Iowa,
Washington,
USC, and at Washington. So
yeah, I don't know, man. USC is coached by that guy that can't cook a brisket. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I get what you're saying. Like, there's potential there. Yeah. Oregon certainly has the toughest road of the top 10, you know, Big Ten teams for sure. And then you got like the Big 12. If BYU wins that one, I feel like they put pretty well. See, the thing about the Big 12 is probably going to be a rematch between Texas Tech, and Texas Tech would have to implode even if they lose the game on Saturday to not make it back to the Big 12 championship game. So, so yeah, it's probably going to be a rematch, and whoever wins that will be the bid, and whoever loses it probably is not in. Is kind of what I think will happen. Regardless, maybe that's crazy too. What if BYU loses Saturday but wins? Or rather, what if Texas Tech loses Saturday, but they win the Big 12? They're in. Is BYU out because they lost 1 game? Actually, yeah. I don't know. Thoughts?
I don't think you can keep BYU out if they're
a 1-loss team, right?
So you're saying if they win on Saturday, but then
I'm saying Tech wins the game at home on Saturday, and let's just say it's a close game.
Yeah.
And they rematch in the Big 12 and BYU. Well, no, wait. What am I saying?
Then Tech would be out if they lost their second game in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, I don't think there's any way BYU's out with 1 loss.
Yeah, I don't either.
Tech twice to get knocked out of the playoffs.
So either way, it looks like the Big 12 is a 1-bid team or 1-bid conference is kind of what I think we're saying, which is probably right. And then you look at the SEC. There's 5 SEC teams ahead of 4 SEC teams ahead of Texas right now. And I look at this. I look what they have left. Like Ole Miss has got Citadel, Florida at home, at Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's a team that's getting. I think that game with Georgia and Mississippi State's going to be interesting because that's That's in Starkville.
Yeah.
This weekend. It doesn't pop off at you, but it could be an interesting game for the Georgia Bulldogs. And so Ole Miss has got to go to Mississippi State as well. Bama's got LSU, who, man, I don't think they can figure out a way
at this point. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think they could even figure out a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oklahoma potentially could mess up Bama's season a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got Eastern Illinois, and then they got to go to Auburn. And as shitty as Auburn is, and as terrible as that program's, and it's almost as bad as shambles as LSU at this point.
Yeah.
But it's the Iron Bowl. You never know what's going to happen in that one either. Georgia at Mississippi State, they got Texas, Charlotte, and then at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech and Georgia last year was a great game. Yeah.
That was a great game last year. 7 overtimes, I think.
Yeah. And so despite, I mean, I know Georgia Tech dropped a game they shouldn't have dropped, but I still think they're a pretty good team. And they're certainly capable of making it hard on Georgia. And then I think Oklahoma's got the hardest path, honestly. They got at Bama, they got Missouri at home, which would probably help them that it's at home, but I think Missouri's a pretty decent team. And then LSU, man, could that be one where LSU finally gets the LSU fans back? Hey, we got a chance because we beat Oklahoma at the end of the year last year. I don't know. That's just kind of how life works to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then A&M's got at Missouri. They got South Carolina at home that beat the piss out of them last year on the road. Samford, and then at Texas. To me, probably Ole Miss has the easiest path to getting out of there alive, without a loss. But what do you guys think about, because I think, as we go back and talk about 9-3 Texas, there's going to have to be some people ahead of them that shit their pants. It's not just going to be 9-3 Texas and you're in. What do you guys think about that remaining SEC schedule and how that could affect, Texas's chances if they don't figure out a way to go 3-0 over the final 3?
So the interesting thing about Missouri is they're on their third string quarterback, because I think their first guy and their backup got hurt. So,
oh wow, I did not know that.
It's kind of, it happened last week. So no one really knows how good or how bad he is. So they're one to watch. I think they have a really strong running game, though. Don't they have the best backs?
They have a really good back, but I think he got hurt even.
Did he? Okay. So Missouri, I don't even know how tough and out that is, but they're not going to be an easy out, because they still have a solid defense, and I think at least one of their running backs is still healthy. But that I'm not really sure. They might be toast. So I don't know how hard this game is even going to be for A&M and the other teams that still have to play them. But for all of the SEC teams that are currently kind of in the top 12 mix, they all have a path to get there, but it's not going to be easy for any of them. I would probably say Texas's path is maybe the hardest, just because you're going to Georgia and then you have A&M. Even though A&M is at home, it's still just, that game is always crazy.
Yeah.
But everybody has their little, there's not a perfect team in the SEC. I know that Alabama and A&M have been the most consistent teams, but they're not perfect either. So I'm so excited for this weekend, because I haven't gotten to really watch that many of the games of other teams. So I'm really pumped I'm going to get the Sling Day Pass, because I have YouTube TV, of course, but I'm going to get the Day Pass and I'm going to watch all my games. I'm going to do my scouting, get my binoculars, decode the signs like Connor Stallions. But I'm excited to watch, because I have no idea what to expect. And especially, I was saying, just with the injuries to some of these teams and with LSU, what the heck is going to go on there? Who knows?
Yeah. It will be
a wild, Mark.
Yeah, it is going to be wild, and I'm here for it. I think there's going to be some great games.
Mm-hmm.
Just like every football season, there's going to be 2 or 3 upsets the final couple weekends that nobody was expecting. So just waiting to see what something like that looks like. But I agree with everything you said about remaining schedules in the SEC. I think Texas has the hardest path at this point. I think Ole Miss probably does have the easiest. And Ole Miss is a damn good team. I watched them play Georgia, a couple weeks ago when they kind of ran out of gas in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But man, I think they scored touchdowns on their first 5 drives in Athens and had 35 points at the end of the third quarter. So Ole Miss is definitely a team to watch. And then I also think that Oklahoma at Bama game next weekend is going to be fantastic. I think that's going to be a close game and could go either way. So I'm here for the upsets and just hoping to see some madness here the last month of the season.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see a lot of madness, and it'll just be interesting to see for Texas fans, like if the Texas team can take advantage of the madness, because there's going to be teams that fall. We've already talked about it. A lot of teams are playing each other. When those teams lose, they're going to fall. But can Texas like be there to jump in? I think is the big key for this team. I will still go on record at this point. I feel like they've got to go 3-0. I think 9-3 is just not going to happen unless the whole world implodes. I mean, it would take some pretty serious upsets in that SEC scheduling we just talked about,
right?
To keep Texas in it at 9-3. But again, stranger things have happened, and we don't know what the committee is going to do. I certainly think the committee is going to want to put Texas in, regardless of what their record is. So it'll just be interesting to see how all that plays out. One last question for you guys before we get out of here tonight. What's your biggest surprise so far this season? It could be about Texas. It could be about anything. Michelle, we'll start with you. Biggest surprise of 2025 college football season so far?
The biggest surprise was, of course, one, just like how we were playing. But the biggest surprise to me has been seeing the resiliency of our team and Sark specifically. I think this is the first time Texas has beat 2 top 10 opponents in a hot minute, like in the same season. I'm shocked. I can't believe we pulled it off. We beat OU and we beat Vanderbilt. When I was thinking we were dead to rights after the Florida game. So that to me has been my biggest takeaway after like the initial shock of just what was that with the Ohio State game. Yeah. It's been really refreshing just seeing a Texas team really bloom before our eyes. It's been so long since that's happened. I feel like the past few years we would start the season so hot, beating Alabama at Tuscaloosa, beating Michigan, at Michigan, like on such these highs. And then we were just hanging on by a thread the whole rest of the season, down to then, inevitably being out. Whereas this season, it's been like, it's over. We suck again. Fire everybody. And just to watch the team just put their heads down and get to work. It's been really cool. And I think that's why, like, I feel so proud, that we're even still in the mix. And so like that to me has just been the biggest surprise, riding the ship. I think it's some of Sark's best coaching because he's really he's got his 12 personnel little demon and his little 11 personnel guy. And sometimes this guy wins, but he's been listening to this guy a little bit more. And, I just feel really proud of the team for fighting back. And, that's been really cool to see. So that's where I'm at.
Mark, biggest surprise so far in 2025?
Yeah, I think my biggest surprise, I don't want to limit this directly to Arch, but I just want to say that, like, my biggest surprise so far has been the big name quarterbacks from the beginning of the season and just how difficult of years they've had. Yeah. Some worse than others, right? I think Arch has been inconsistent, but at the end of the day, he's still quarterback of a 7-2 team with a lot to play for. But you look at Clemson's quarterback, Penn State's Allard, right? Before he got hurt, he wasn't playing well, right? You have Klubnik and Clemson have been terrible this season. Yeah, I think those were like the 4 big quarterback names going into the season.
Nussmeier.
Nuss was up there. Right?
Yeah. And it's like
Lagway.
4 or 5 guys, Lagway, you look at Sellers at South Carolina, a lot of those huge name quarterbacks have just had terrible seasons. And I think that's been the biggest surprise to me is how some of those teams have completely fallen off. And you've seen other teams, with less notable quarterbacks play a lot more consistently. So I think that's been the biggest surprise to me. And you know, with 3 weeks left, a lot of those big name quarterbacks literally have nothing to play for, right? They're either hurt and on the shelf, or they're playing for a team with a losing record. And it's just like, man, it's over for them. So I think that's my biggest surprise so far in this season.
Yeah, another guy, Carson Beck, who has just been. I mean, he's had times this year where he's been really good, but he's been really bad, like in their losses.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, Mark, about the QBs. For me, and specifically to Texas, I think I knew that the offense would struggle early, or at least I say I knew. I felt like the offense would struggle early. But I'm kind of surprised it's taken them so long to find that rhythm. I really thought we'd see them struggle against Ohio State. We'd have our 3 get right games, and we'd kind of have it figured out what we needed to be doing as we stepped into SEC play. And that just hasn't been the case at all. I mean, we're talking about a team that, without Ryan Niblett in a 3-game stretch of SEC play, is probably we're like a 4-loss team probably.
Yeah.
3 losses for sure.
Yeah.
50-50 on the 4th one. So the games we've been winning up until the last couple of weeks, we won weird ways, not with offense. And so to see the offense struggle, but I think the flip side of that coin is just how much like Vandy's a good defense. And we absolutely lit them up for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like we just overmatched them, honestly. And so to me, that's kind of like what do we get? Devin, our friend Devin from the Girl Herd, said it's a choose your own adventure. Like, what are we going to choose these final 3 games, and what do they look like offensively? Because I think all bullshit aside about the defense, they've been really, really good.
Yeah.
Almost, probably 98% of the season, they've been really, really good. So I think they're going to continue to be good. What will determine whether we can win these final 3 games, I think, will be, does the offense continue to improve, and can it get a little more consistent and give that defense a break? Like, we played 86 plays 2 games in a row on defense. Like, you can't do that and sustain. So it's absolutely nuts. So yeah, it's been a wild season. I think it's going to continue to get wild over the course of these last 4 weeks. It's going to be fun to watch if you're a college football fan. This weekend will be great because we don't have to worry about anything. We're not going to lose the bye week probably, so we don't have to worry about any 4th quarter comebacks or overtimes or anything like that. So I'm excited about that. Guys, make sure you go follow Michelle Lynn 94 with 3 N's on the Lynn. I messed that up one time. And then go follow our guy Marc Pena at Occupy Left Field if you're not already doing it. Big time baseball guy, big time Texas Longhorn football guy. Follow those guys. Follow us at Horn Takes. We'll do a show. Wow, we will not do 10 thoughts this weekend because we're not going to have 10 thoughts on the bye week. So we'll be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Thanks everybody that's watching us. Thank you guys for being here. Any last words before we get out of here tonight?
No, let's crush this bye week.
Let's crush the bye week. Let's get ready for Georgia. Let's get that Georgia monkey off our back. I know Sark wants to do that so bad. I know the team wants to do that so bad. If we can get that done, I might be back. I might be like drinking heavy amounts of Kool-Aid again.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. All right, you guys have a good night. Y'all get hooked.
Welcome.
Hook 'em.